Hey everyone. So if you're watching this, I'm guessing it's because you really care about supporting people, right? You want to be effective. But here's a thought. What if the one thing we think is helping is, well, actually getting in the way? Today we're going to dig into this really powerful shift in how we talk to people. It's all about moving away from trying to fix their problems and learning how to guide them to find their own solutions. So let's kick things off by talking about that gut instinct that makes us want to help in the first place.
I mean, it's just human nature, right? You see someone you care about struggling, and your first thought is, I've got to jump in. You want to help, give some advice, just make it right. And that's really the heart of being a peer supporter, that genuine, deep-down desire to make a difference.
Okay, but here's the big, crucial question we've got to ask ourselves. What if that powerful instinct to fix everything, to hand out all the answers? What if that's actually, without us even meaning to, creating resistance? What if it's making the person we're trying to help dig in their heels and argue against the very change we're trying to encourage? Kind of backwards, right?
So this instinct actually has a name. It's called the fixing reflex. It's that automatic knee-jerk reaction to just jump in with solutions. And look, it comes from a really good place, a place of deep care. But the science on this is pretty clear. When we start arguing for why someone should change, they almost automatically start arguing for why they shouldn't. They start defending things just the way they are. And before you know it, you're stuck in this conversational tug-of-war, and nobody's going anywhere.
So, how do we get out of that trap? The answer isn't to care less, not at all. It's about changing our entire approach. It means shifting our mindset from trying to be the expert who has all the answers to becoming more of a curious, compassionate guide on their journey.
And this really breaks it down nicely. Think of it like red flags versus green lights. The red flags, that's the fixing reflex. You've got arguing for change, taking that expert stance, maybe even using confrontational language. But the green lights, that's the guiding spirit. That's where you're being curious, you're helping them find their own motivation, and you're using real, genuine empathy through reflections. This shift right here, it makes all the difference in the world.
Now, this whole guiding approach, it's built on a philosophy called the spirit of motivational interviewing, or MI for short. And it's so much more than just a bunch of techniques. It's a whole way of being with another person. It's profoundly respectful, and you know what? It's incredibly effective.
And that spirit really rests on four main pillars. First up is partnership. This is huge. It's about recognizing that they are the expert on their own life, not us. Then that partnership is built on acceptance, which means offering them unconditional respect no matter what. It's all driven by compassion, a genuine desire to put their well-being first. And finally, it all comes together with empowerment. We're not trying to install something they don't have. We're trying to help them see and use the strengths they already possess.
Okay, so that's the why, the philosophy behind it all. But what about the how? How do we actually do this stuff? Well, we need a toolkit. And luckily, motivational interviewing gives us a really simple but powerful one. It's called OARS.
Yeah, OARS. It's an acronym, and it stands for the 4 core skills that really bring that MI spirit to life. We've got open questions, affirmations, reflections, and summaries. Seriously, just think of these as your go-to tools for navigating pretty much any supportive conversation.
All right, let's break them down. We'll start with O for open questions. These are the kinds of questions you can't just answer with a yes or a no. Things like, so what's on your mind? Or, in a perfect world, how would things be different for you? They invite people to tell their story, to explore. They're basically a way of saying, hey, I'm genuinely curious about your world. Tell me more. Next up, A for affirmations. Now, this isn't about just saying good job or some other generic praise. It's about really noticing and naming a person's specific strengths or their efforts or their good qualities. A genuine, honest affirmation, man, it can totally change the vibe of a conversation. It lowers their defenses and builds up that crucial trust.
Then we get to R, reflections. And honestly, this might be the most powerful skill of all. This isn't just parroting back what someone said, it's about offering back your understanding of what they mean. A simple reflection can just show you're listening, but a more complex one where maybe you guess at the feeling underneath, that can help the person understand themselves on a much deeper level.
And last but not least, S for summaries. You can kind of think of these like a bunch of reflections all strung together. A really good summary pulls together all the person's own reasons for change that they've been talking about. You present it back to them, kind of like a little bouquet, and it shows them, hey, look how far we've already come in this one conversation.
Okay, so we've got the theory down, now for the fun part. Let's see how this OARS toolkit actually works in the real world with the kind of tough,
challenging conversations that we all run into.
All right, first scenario. Picture this. Someone is talking about smoking, and they're totally on the fence. You know, that classic, part of me wants to quit, but part of me doesn't. They have reasons to keep doing it and reasons to stop. This right here is a critical moment. The way we respond next will either trigger that fixing reflex, or it'll open a door.
Just look at the difference here. The first response, the inconsistent one, it jumps right into arguing and fixing. You know it's bad for you. And what's that going to do? It's just going to make them defend their smoking. But the am I consistent response, it's just a beautiful, simple reflection. It holds both sides of what they're feeling, with zero judgment. It validates their experience and gives them space to explore that conflict themselves. Okay, next up, a situation with a bit of discord. The person is maybe angry, a little defensive, and they're challenging you directly. You don't know anything about me. Now, our own fixing reflex can feel kind of attacked here, and our first instinct might be to get defensive ourselves.
So the inconsistent response takes the bait, right? It turns the whole thing into a confrontation. But the am I consistent response, it does something pretty brilliant. It just sidesteps the conflict entirely. It reflects back their unique point and then gently guides the conversation back to what they had already said was important to them. It totally softens the discord instead of pouring gasoline on the fire.
And for our last scenario, let's talk about the quiet person, the reluctant person. They're giving you almost nothing. One-word answers, no eye contact. And man, the temptation to start pushing and pressuring them for more, it is huge.
But you can see how that inconsistent, demanding response is just going to make them shut down even more. The consistent response, though, uses a really gentle reflection. It takes that little tiny bit of information they gave you and makes a compassionate guess about the feeling behind it, and you're not too happy about that. That one simple statement can be the key that unlocks the whole conversation.
You know, when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one core idea. And I think this quote just captures it perfectly. The fixing reflex, it turns conversations into a wrestling match. It's a struggle for control. But the guiding spirit we've been talking about, it transforms it into a dance, a collaborative partnership where you're moving together.
So, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. The next time you're in one of these supportive conversations, what are you going to choose? Will it be the exhausting struggle of a wrestling match or the collaborative, compassionate art of the dance?